On Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, at exactly 6:47 p.m. My son Roland said 5 words that changed everything. Mom, it's time you moved. I'm Dorinda Marie Hawkridge. I'm 72 years old. I've lived in the house at 2847 Oakwood Drive, Maplewood, for 50 years. My husband Tom and I built it with our own hands in 1974, board by board, nail by nail. Tom passed away 3 years ago, March 3rd, 2021. And since then, Roland and his wife Imelda have been living here with me, along with their daughter Lily, who just turned 12. When Roland made his announcement, I was setting down a plate of roasted chicken. I looked at him. I looked at Imelda, who was adjusting her Tiffany & Company bracelet, the one I'd bought her for her 40th birthday, 2,400 from the jewelry store on Main Street. Then I looked at the ceramic rooster on the shelf, the same one Tom and I picked out at a yard sale in 1976 for 75 cents. I said, I see. Then I sat down and cut my chicken into very small pieces. That Tuesday had started like every other Tuesday for the past 3 years. I woke at 5:30 a.m., a habit from 50 years of early shifts at Maplewood Elementary, where I worked as a secretary until I retired in 2009. The house was quiet. The floorboards in the hallway still creaked in the same 3 spots they'd creaked since 1974. Tom used to say, "That's how the house says good morning, Dory." I made coffee in the same Krupp's coffee maker we'd bought in 1998. Ground the beans by hand because the electric grinder broke last year and nobody had gotten around to replacing it. While the coffee brewed, I mixed pancake batter from scratch. 2 cups Pillsbury flour, 3 eggs from the carton Roland bought at Whole Foods, 1½ cups of the organic whole milk Imelda insists on, 8,9 cents a gallon. At 6:15 a.m., Roland came downstairs. He's 47 now, though sometimes I still see the 5-year-old who helped me plant the peach tree in the backyard. The tree's still there, produces bitter fruit now, but it blooms every spring. "Morning, Mom," he said, not looking up from his iPhone 15 Pro Max. He sat at the kitchen table, the same oak table Tom built in 1979, the one with the scratch where Roland dropped a wrench when he was 8, and opened his MacBook Pro. Within 30 seconds, he was on a Zoom call, his voice crisp and corporate. "Tell them we're not budging on the Q4 deliverables. If they can't meet the timeline, we'll find another vendor." I set a plate of pancakes in front of him. He nodded without looking at me. At 6:32 a.m., Imelda descended the stairs. She's 44, though she'd tell you she's eternally 39. Today, she wore Lululemon leggings. The Align style, $128, I know because I overheard her on the phone with her sister, and a matching sports bra. Her blonde highlights were fresh from the salon, 340s every 6 weeks at that place on Brandywine Street. "Good morning, Dorinda," she said. Not Mom, never Mom, just Dorinda, like I was a roommate she tolerated. She went straight to the refrigerator and pulled out the Elmhurst almond milk, the one in the glass bottle that cost $7.99. "Oh," she said, her voice tight. "We're out." "I used the last of it yesterday," I said, flipping another pancake. "I can pick some up today. It's fine." She said it the way people say fine when they mean the opposite. "I'll just adapt." She made herself a protein shake in the Vitamix blender, $549.95. I was there when Roland bought it for her last Christmas, and the noise filled the kitchen like an angry hornet. Roland didn't look up from his screen. I watched the pancake bubble and brown. At 6:58 a.m., Lily came down. My granddaughter, 12 years old as of October 23rd. She wore her Maplewood Middle School hoodie and had her dark hair in a messy ponytail. She's the only one in this house who still hugs me without being asked. "Morning, Grandma," she said, sliding into the chair next to me. "Pancakes?" "Always," I said, and put 3 on her plate. While she ate, I noticed Roland on his phone, texting. I couldn't see the screen, but I saw his face. Tight, worried. He glanced at Imelda, who gave him a small nod. Something passed between them. Something I wasn't meant to see. Then Lily's phone buzzed. She looked at it, frowned, and looked at me. Her eyes said, "I'm sorry, Grandma." But sorry for what? The day passed the way days pass when you're 72 and living in your own home, but somehow feeling like a guest. I cleaned. I did 3 loads of laundry, Roland's work shirts, Imelda's expensive workout clothes, Lily's school uniforms. I went to Kroger and bought the almond milk Imelda wanted, plus chicken for dinner, plus ingredients for Lily's favorite chocolate chip cookies. At 5:30 p.m., I started cooking. Roasted chicken with rosemary from the garden Tom and I planted in 1980. Mashed potatoes, green beans, the same meal I'd made 1,000 Tuesdays before. At 6:30 p.m., everyone sat down. Roland at the head of the table, Tom's spot, the spot he'd taken without asking 3 years ago. Imelda to his right, Lily to his left. Me at the other end, where I'd always sat, except now the table felt longer. We ate in silence for exactly 4 minutes. I know because I was watching the clock on the wall, the one with the brass frame, the one Tom bought me for our 30th anniversary in 2004. Then Roland cleared his throat. "Mom, we need to talk." Imelda set down her fork with a deliberate clink. "About what, honey?" I asked, passing the potatoes to Lily. "About living arrangements." Roland looked at Imelda, who nodded encouragingly. "Mom, Imelda and I have been talking, for a while now actually, and we think it's time for you to consider a change." I kept my face neutral. "What kind of change?" "A more suitable living situation," Imelda said, her voice syrupy. "For someone your age." Roland jumped in quickly. "What she means is, Mom, this house is a lot for you. The stairs, the maintenance, the yard work. You're 72 and 3 months, I said. Born August 8th, 1952. 3:14 p.m. at Maplewood General Hospital. 7 pounds 4 ounces. Roland blinked. "Right. Well, the point is we've been researching some really nice places. Senior living communities. With activities and health care and people your own age," Imelda added. "It's not healthy being isolated like this." I looked at her. "I'm not isolated. I live with my family." Imelda's smile tightened. "Of course. But wouldn't it be nice to have peers? People who understand what you're going through?" "What am I going through?" I asked. "Well," Imelda gestured vaguely. "Aging, loneliness, the loss of Tom." "I lost Tom 3 years ago," I said quietly. "I've been going through it in this house, the house we built together." Roland leaned forward. "Mom, that's exactly why this is so hard. This house has so many memories. Maybe too many. Maybe it's time for a fresh start, somewhere with less emotional baggage." I watched him. Really watched him. When did his eyes get so cold? "Besides," Imelda said, picking up her phone, "we found this wonderful place. Brookstone Heights. It's only 20 minutes away." She turned her iPhone 14 screen toward me. "Look, they have yoga classes, and pottery, and a community garden." "I have a garden," I said. "Yes, but this one has staff to maintain it," Imelda said. "No more weeding, no more watering. You could just enjoy it." Lily hadn't said a word. She was pushing green beans around her plate, her eyes down. "What brought this on?" I asked, looking at Roland. "Right now, tonight, on a Tuesday." Roland exchanged a glance with Imelda. "It's not sudden, Mom. We've been thinking about this for months. We wanted to make sure we found the right place before we said anything." "You've been looking for months," I said slowly, "without telling me." "We didn't want to worry you," Imelda said. "Not until we had a solid plan." "What's the plan?" I asked. Roland pulled out a folder. Manila, standard letter size, the kind you buy at Staples for $4.99 a pack. He opened it and slid 3 glossy brochures across the table. "We've narrowed it down to 3 options. Brookstone Heights is our top choice, but there's also Meadowbrook Manor and Sunset Gardens, all highly rated, all with full care packages." I looked at the brochures. Smiling elderly people doing watercolors, playing cards, hugging grandchildren who were visiting. "How much?" I asked. "Sorry?" Roland said. "How much do these places cost?" "Well, that's the thing," Roland said quickly. "They're not cheap." But we've done the math, and if we sell this house and downsize, there would be enough to cover your care for at least 15, maybe 20 years. The room went very quiet. Sell this house, I repeated. Not right away, Imelda said. We'd give you time to pack, to say goodbye. This is my house, I said. Yes, but Mom, be realistic, Roland said. This place is too big for one person, and honestly, it needs work. The roof, the plumbing, the foundation has some settling issues. If we sell now, we can get market value, but if we wait, those repairs will eat into the equity. Equity, I said. Your equity, Roland corrected. The money from the sale would go to your care. We'd just handle the logistics. I looked at him, at this man I'd raised. I'd put him through college, University of Pennsylvania, $43,287 a year in 2006. I have the receipts. I'd bought him his first car, Honda Civic, $8,400 cash when he was 19. I'd covered his wedding, $34,500 total. Everything from the venue to the flowers to the 3-tier cake from Susie's Bakery on Oak Street. And now he was sitting at his dead father's table, eating dinner I'd cooked in the house I'd built, telling me I should sell it. I need to think about this, I said. Of course, Roland said, relief flooding his face. Take your time. But Mom, just keep an open mind, okay? This is about your well-being. We're doing this because we love you. Imelda nodded. Exactly. We want what's best for you, Dorinda. I looked at Lily, who finally met my eyes. She looked like she might cry. May I be excused? She whispered. Of course, sweetheart, I said. She left the table without another word. A minute later, I heard her door close upstairs. I stood up and started clearing plates. Roland and Imelda stayed at the table, murmuring to each other in low tones. I caught fragments. Better than expected. Give her a week. Architect consultation on Friday. I washed dishes by hand. We have a dishwasher, a GE Profile stainless steel installed in 2016, but I've always preferred the sink, the warm water, the rhythm, the thinking time. Behind me, Roland and Imelda finally left the table. I heard them climb the stairs, heard their bedroom door close, heard the sound of the TV turning on. I stood at the sink until the water went cold. At 11:43 p.m., I sat in my bedroom with the door closed and the lights off. Just the bedside lamp, the one with the green glass shade Tom found at an antique shop in 1987, 45s. I opened my nightstand drawer. Inside, reading glasses, hand lotion, a paperback mystery, and a black leather-bound notebook. The notebook was where Tom and I used to track household expenses, back when every dollar mattered. I hadn't written in it for years, but I still kept it. I flipped through the pages. Tom's handwriting mixed with mine. May 3rd, 1975. Paint, $87. June 12th, 1975. Lumber, $234. August 8th, 1979. Kitchen table wood, $67. Between 2 pages in the back, folded carefully, the original deed to 2847 Oakwood Drive. Dorinda Marie Hawkridge and Thomas James Hawkridge, joint tenants with right of survivorship. Purchase price, $42,000, dated October 15th, 1974. When Tom died, the house became mine, solely mine. No mortgage, no liens, paid off in full on July 8, 2002. I unfolded another piece of paper, tucked behind the deed. Tom's will. Simple, straightforward. Everything to my beloved wife Dorinda. I sat there for a long time, holding these papers, remembering. Then I opened the bottom drawer of my nightstand, the deep one, the one that sticks when it's humid. Inside a small fireproof lockbox, gray metal, the kind you buy at Target for $39.99. I knew the combination by heart. Tom's birthday, 12/03/47. Inside the box, my birth certificate. Tom's death certificate. Our marriage license, June 6, 1970. Social security cards. Life insurance policy, paid out $250,000 in 2021. And a bank statement. From First National Bank of Maplewood. Account number 4738. Current balance as of October 31st, 2024, $847,392, 664 hours. Tom's life insurance, plus our savings, plus 40 years of careful investments, plus the pension from my 35 years at Maplewood Elementary, plus Social Security. Roland and Imelda thought I had nothing. They thought I was just an old woman taking up space. They thought I'd be grateful for their help. I closed the lockbox and put it back in the drawer. Then I did something I hadn't done in 3 years. I smiled. Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. I woke at 5:30 a.m. like always, but this time I was hunting. I made coffee. I made pancakes. I watched. Roland came down at 6:15 a.m., same as every day. But today I noticed things I'd been too polite to notice before. The way he checked his phone every 47 seconds. The way his jaw tensed when an email came through. The way he rubbed his left temple. The stress headache spot. Same place Tom used to get them. At 6:42 a.m. his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, then quickly left the kitchen. I heard him in the hallway. "I told you I'm working on it." "No, she hasn't signed anything yet. I said I'm handling it." He came back 2 minutes later, his face tight. "Work call," he muttered. I nodded and poured him more coffee. Imelda came down at 6:35 a.m. She went straight for her phone, which had been charging on the counter. I watched her fingers fly across the screen, texting, fast and urgent. Then she looked at Roland and gave a tiny shake of her head. Something was wrong. And whatever it was, it involved me. That afternoon, when Roland left for work and Imelda went to her Pilates class at Core Power Yoga on Brandywine Street, $189 monthly membership, I'd seen the credit card statement once. I did something I hadn't done in 3 years. I went into Roland's home office. It used to be the guest bedroom, the room where Tom's mother stayed when she visited before she passed in 2003. Now it had a standing desk from IKEA, $449, 2 monitors, and a filing cabinet. The filing cabinet was locked, but I knew where Roland kept his keys. Same place he'd kept them since high school, in the small ceramic bowl on his dresser, the one shaped like a turtle, the one I'd bought him at a craft fair when he was 10. I went to his bedroom. The bowl was there. 6 keys on a Milwaukee Brewers keychain. The 3rd key opened the filing cabinet. Inside, folders. Lots of folders. Neatly labeled in Roland's precise handwriting. Utilities, insurance, taxes, medical, investment statements, and one labeled simply 2847 Oakwood. My address. I pulled it out. The folder was thick. I carried it to my bedroom, closed the door, and spread everything on my bed. First document, a printout from Zillow, dated September 18th, 2024. 2 months ago. 2847 Oakwood Drive, Maplewood. Estimated value, $487,000. Someone had written notes in the margins. Needs roof repair, $18K. Foundation issues, $22K. Outdated kitchen, $15K. Net, $432,000. Second document, an email printed. From Roland's Gmail to someone named Jaya Mitchell at architecturalconcepts.com. Dated October 3rd, 2024. Jim, thanks for the consultation. Attached are the floor plans for 2847 Oakwood. As discussed, we're looking at a complete second-floor demo and rebuild. Modern open concept. Budget around $175K. Timeline. Start February 2025. One complication. Current occupant, my mother, will need to be relocated first. Working on that. Roland. My hands started shaking. Third document. Another email. This one from Imelda's Gmail, imeldahawk@gmail.com, to Roland. Dated October 29th, 2024. 2 weeks ago. Roland, we can't wait any longer. The quarterly bonus didn't come through again. We're at $43,000 in credit card debt, and the minimum payments are killing us. We need to sell that house or take out a HELOC. Your mom won't even notice if we do it quietly. She doesn't check that stuff. Let's just handle it. I read it again. And again, take out a HELOC. She doesn't check that stuff. Let's just handle it. Fourth document, a response from Roland, same date, 11:47 p.m. I know, but we can't forge her signature on a HELOC. That's fraud. We need to do this right. Get her into assisted living, sell the house legitimately, use the proceeds. Give it 2 more weeks. I'll push harder. 2 more weeks. That would be November 12th, yesterday, the day they made their announcement. Fifth document, a business card, paperclipped to a brochure, Brookstone Heights Senior Living Community, starting at $4,500 month. Someone, Imelda, based on the handwriting, had written on the brochure, studio apartment equal $4,500, 1 bedroom is equal $6,200, full care package equals plus $1,800 month, total $8,000 month, and in the margin, her SS plus pension equals $3,400 month, shortfall equals $4,600 month, house sale proceeds equals to $430K. Divide by 4,600 eyes covers 93 months, 7.75 years. She's 72. That takes her to 80. After that? After that, what? I'd be 80 years old with no money and no home? I kept digging. Sixth document. Another email. This one made my blood run cold. From Roland and Hawkridge at Vanguard Capital, Com. To Thomas at Brewster at Elder Law Partners, Com. Date, November 1st, 2024. Subject, constructive eviction strategy. Tom, thanks for the consultation yesterday. To summarize, since my mother owns the house outright and we're living here as her guests, we have no legal claim to the property. However, you mentioned that if we can establish a pattern of her being unable to care for herself or the property, we might be able to pursue guardianship or conservatorship. Can you send me the documentation requirements for that? Also, what's the typical timeline? We're hoping to move forward in Q1 2025. Thanks, Roland Hawkridge, VP of Operations, Vanguard Capital Management. I had to read it 3 times to understand what I was seeing. Guardianship, conservatorship, legal terms for taking control of someone's life when they're deemed incompetent. My son was planning to have me declared incompetent, so he could take my house. Thursday, November 14th. I couldn't sleep. At 3:00 a.m., I went downstairs and made tea. Chamomile, the kind that's supposed to calm you down. It didn't work. I sat at the kitchen table with a yellow legal pad I'd found in the drawer. The same drawer where I kept takeout menus and expired coupons and the instruction manual for the microwave. I started writing. Every interaction with Roland and Imelda over the past 3 years. Every time they'd called me forgetful. Every time they'd suggested I was confused. Every time they'd taken over a task I was perfectly capable of doing myself. October 2023. Roland started handling my mail, said he was helping organize. I didn't ask him to. March 2024. Imelda made a doctor's appointment for me without asking. Told the doctor I'd been forgetting things. I hadn't. July 2024. Roland took over my online banking. Said it was safer if he monitored it for suspicious activity. They'd been building a case for months. Friday, November 15th. Roland left for work at 7:30 a.m. Imelda left for a spa day at 9:00 a.m. Serenity Day Spa on Maple Avenue, $347 for the ultimate relaxation package. I'd heard her booking it on the phone. I went back to Roland's office. This time I was methodical. I pulled out my iPhone SE. The old one from 2020, the one Roland said I should upgrade, but I never did. And I photographed everything. Every email, every document, every note in the margins. Then I found something else. In the back of the filing cabinet, a second folder, labeled Legal, Confidential. Inside, 3 documents from Thomas Brewster, Attorney at Law, Elder Law Partners, 847 Brandywine Street, Suite 200, Maplewood. Document 1, a draft petition for guardianship. My name in the blank. Dorinda Marie Hawkridge, DOB 08 08 1952. Grounds for guardianship. Subject demonstrates declining cognitive function, memory impairment, and inability to manage financial affairs. It was all lies. Every word. Document 2, a checklist. Handwritten notes in Roland's writing. Establish pattern of forgetfulness, ongoing. Document medical concerns. Dr. Shapiro, Apt 312-24. Take over financial management, completed 7/2024. Obtained second medical opinion, schedule for 12/2024. File petition, target date 1/15/2025. Hearing, estimate 2/2025. Transfer property title, post guardianship. Document 3, an invoice from Elder Law Partners. Services rendered. Consultation, guardianship proceedings, hours, 3.5 at 425 hours hour. Total, $1,487.50. Paid, October 8th, 2024. Roland had paid a lawyer $1,487.50 to help him take away my rights. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady, cold, focused. I photographed everything. Then I put it all back exactly as I'd found it. Monday, November 18th. I looked up Theodore Walsh in the phone book. Yes, I still have a phone book. The 2023-2024 Maplewood Directory, the one they leave on doorsteps every September. Walsh, Theodore J., attorney at law, retired. Specializing in estate planning, probate, elder law. I called the number at 9:00 a.m. Walsh residence, a man answered. Deep voice, steady. Mr. Walsh, my name is Dorinda Hawkridge. You helped my husband Tom and me with our wills back in 2001. A pause. Dorinda? Tom's Dorinda? My goodness, how are you, dear? I need legal help, I said, and I need discretion. Come by this afternoon, 2:00 p.m. Do you remember where I live? 634 Willow Court. Good memory. See you then. At 2 p.m. exactly, I rang Theodore Walsh's doorbell. He answered immediately, a tall man, 78 now, with white hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Dorinda, he hugged me gently. Come in, I'm so sorry about Tom. I should have called. You sent flowers, I said. The white lilies, they were beautiful. We sat in his study, wood paneling, law books, a portrait of his late wife, Margaret, on the wall. She'd passed in 2019. Cancer. Tell me what's happening, he said. I told him everything. Then I pulled out my phone and showed him the photographs. Theodore put on his reading glasses. He spent 20 minutes going through every image. His expression didn't change, but his jaw got tighter and tighter. Finally, he looked up. Dorinda, what your son is planning is not just unethical. Parts of it may be criminal. Criminal? Taking over your finances without your consent. Planning to file false guardianship claims. This goes beyond family conflict. This is elder abuse. The word hung in the air. Abuse. What can I do? I asked. First, we secure your assets. Second, we document everything, and I mean everything. Third, he paused. Third, you need to decide what outcome you want. Do you want to fight the guardianship? Do you want to confront Roland? Do you want to press charges? I want to sell my house, I said. Theodore blinked. Pardon? I want to sell 2847 Oakwood Drive, immediately, before Roland can do anything else. Can you do that? Legally? Dorinda, it's your house. Your name is on the deed. Tom left it to you outright. You can sell it whenever you want. He leaned forward. But before we do that, let me check something. When did you last look at your mortgage status? There is no mortgage, I said. We paid it off in 2002, July 8th. Tom and I took out a bottle of champagne, Moet and Chandon, $47.99 from the liquor store, and we toasted in the backyard. Theodore nodded. Let me pull the county records anyway, just to be thorough. He went to his computer, typed, clicked, waited. Then his face changed. Dorinda, he said quietly, when was the last time you checked your credit report? I don't know. Years ago? There's a mortgage on your house. The room tilted. That's impossible. Theodore turned the monitor toward me. Home equity line of credit. Filed with the county on August 23, 2023. Amount, $175,000. Lender, First National Bank of Maplewood. Borrower signature. He pointed to the screen. Dorinda Marie Hawkridge. I stared at the signature. It looked like mine. The same loops on the D. The same slant on the H. But I'd never signed it. That's not my signature, I whispered. Theodore leaned closer. Are you certain? I never signed anything. I never took out a loan. Theodore, I have $847,000 in the bank. Why would I need $175,000? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, Roland has access to your financial information, correct? He said it was for security. In case something happened to me. Dorinda. Theodore's voice was very gentle. I think your son forged your signature and took out a loan against your house. The room was spinning now. Can he do that? Legally? No. It's fraud. It's identity theft. It's a felony. Theodore pulled up more screens. The loan was disbursed on August 30th, 2023, $175,000, direct deposit to an account at Midwestern Savings Bank. Account holder, Roland James Hawkridge. He stole from me. Yes. He stole $175,000. Yes. I sat there, hands in my lap, looking at the forged signature on the screen. My son, my only child, the baby I'd rocked at 2:00 a.m., the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, the man I'd put through college. He'd stolen from me. What do I do? I asked. Theodore was quiet for a moment. Then, you have several options. Option 1, press charges. Roland goes to jail, possibly for years. Option 2, confront him privately, demand repayment, cut him out of your life. Option 3, he hesitated. Option 3, I prompted. Option 3, you sell the house. Use the proceeds to pay off the fraudulent loan. Keep the evidence in case you need it later. And you disappear from his life on your own terms. Can I do that? Even with this loan? I can get the loan declared fraudulent and nullified, but it'll take time. 2 weeks, maybe 3 if we're lucky. We'll need bank records, handwriting analysis, proof you never received the money. I have bank records. I can show I never got $175,000. Good, that helps. Theodore pulled out a yellow legal pad. Here's what we do. First, I file an emergency motion to freeze the HELOC. Second, I file a dispute with the bank. Third, I get a handwriting expert. I know someone used to testify in court charges $800 for a rush job. Fourth, once the loan is nullified, you're free to sell. How long? I asked. If we move fast, I can have the freeze in place by Friday. The dispute takes 7 to 10 business days. The handwriting analysis takes 2 days. So, realistically, you could have clear title by December 2nd. 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks. Could I live in that house for 3 more weeks, knowing what I knew? Do it, I said. Tuesday, November 26th. Theodore called at 9:47 a.m. It's done. The HELOC is frozen. Roland can't access it, can't draw on it, can't do anything with it until the fraud investigation is complete. Will he know? I asked. He'll get a letter from the bank, probably today or tomorrow. Then I don't have much time. That afternoon, I called Patricia Morrison. Everyone calls her Patty. We'd been in the same church group for 30 years, United Methodist, corner of Oak and 3rd Street. She'd become a real estate agent after her husband died in 2016. Lung cancer. He was only 63. Dorinda, she answered on the second ring. How are you, honey? I haven't seen you at services in months. I've been busy, I said. Patty, I need your help. And I need complete discretion. There was a pause. Then in a different voice. What do you need? I need to sell my house. Quietly, quickly, without my son knowing. Another pause. Can you meet me? Somewhere private? The Bluebird Cafe. Tomorrow at 10:00 a.m. The one on Route 41, 2 towns over. I'll be there. Wednesday, November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. I told Roland and Imelda I was going to the library. Imelda barely looked up from her phone. Roland was in his office with the door closed. I heard him on the phone, his voice sharp. "What do you mean frozen? I'm authorized on that account." I drove to the Bluebird Cafe in my 2004 Honda Accord, 164,683 miles, still runs perfectly, and found Patty already there, sitting in a corner booth with a leather portfolio. She stood and hugged me tight. "Tell me everything." I told her. All of it. The eviction plan, the guardianship documents, the forged loan. When I finished, Patty was silent for a long moment. Then, "Oh, honey, I've seen this before. Too many times. Children who think their aging parents are ATMs. Can you help me sell the house?" "Absolutely. But we need to be smart about this." She opened her portfolio. "No MLS listing, no sign in the yard, no open houses. We do this through private contacts only. I have a client list. Serious buyers, pre-approved, ready to move fast. We schedule showings only when Roland and Imelda are gone. We use by appointment only as our excuse. And we move fast. I'm talking 2 weeks, max." "Will anyone buy it that quickly?" Patty smiled. "Dorinda, you have a 1,800 square foot house on half an acre in Maplewood. Original hardwood floors. Established neighborhood. Good bones. I can sell that house in a week if you price it right." "What's right?" "Zillow says $487,000. But for a fast private sale, I'd say $449,000. Still a great deal for a buyer, but quick enough that we can close before Christmas." "Do it." "You're sure? Once we list, there's no going back." I looked at her. "I'm selling the house my husband and I built because my son planned to steal it from me. I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Patty reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Then let's get to work. But Dorinda, I need one thing from you." "What?" "Where are you going to go?" I pulled out a piece of paper, an address I'd written down 3 days ago. 2156 Maple Court, Unit B. It's a cottage, 800 square feet. Rent, $950 a month. Available December 1st. I called yesterday and put down a deposit. $1,900, first month and security. Patty looked at the address and smiled. "That's 2 streets from my house." "I know," I said. I looked it up. Thursday, November 28th. Thanksgiving Day. Roland and Imelda were hosting. Or rather, Imelda was hosting, and I was expected to cook. 23 people were coming. Imelda's parents, her sister's family, Roland's colleagues from Vanguard Capital Management, and assorted friends. I spent the morning in the kitchen. 20-pound turkey from Whole Foods, $67.43. Fresh cranberries, $5.99. Sweet potatoes, green beans, dinner rolls. I moved like a machine, my hands steady, my mind somewhere else entirely. At 2:00 p.m., everyone gathered around the dining room table. The table Tom built in 1979, extended with 2 leaves to seat 24. Imelda sat at one end in a cream-colored anthropology dress, $228. I'd seen the receipt on the counter. Roland at the other end in a Ralph Lauren sweater, $145. Imelda's father, Gerald, stood to say grace. "Lord, we thank you for this meal, for family, for the roof over our heads." I looked around the table, at Lily, who kept glancing at me with worried eyes, at Imelda's mother, Patricia, who'd never once asked me how I was doing, at Roland's boss, a man named David something, who was already checking his phone under the table. And we thank you for Dorinda, who prepared this beautiful feast. Amen." Everyone echoed amen and started passing dishes. "So, Dorinda," Imelda's sister Jessica said, her voice bright and fake, "I hear you're moving to Brookstone Heights. How exciting." The table went quiet. I looked at Imelda, who had frozen with her fork halfway to her mouth. "I'm considering my options," I said carefully. "Oh, it's wonderful there," Jessica continued, oblivious. "My friend's mother lives there. They have movie nights and bridge clubs and—" "Jessica," Imelda said sharply, "can you pass the cranberry sauce?" The conversation shifted. I ate my turkey and said nothing. After dinner, while I was washing dishes, Lily appeared at my elbow. "Grandma," she whispered, Are you really leaving? I dried my hands and knelt down to her level. Things are changing, sweetheart, but no matter what happens, I'll always be your grandma. That never changes. Her eyes filled with tears. Dad's been stressed. I heard him yelling on the phone about money, and Mom keeps crying in her room. I pulled her into a hug. It's not your fault, Lily. None of this is your fault. Do you understand? She nodded against my shoulder. Behind us, Roland appeared in the doorway. Lily, go upstairs. The adults need to talk. Lily looked at me, then at her father, then left without a word. Roland waited until she was gone. Then, Mom, we need to discuss timing. Timing? For your move. We've scheduled tours at Brookstone Heights and Meadowbrook Manor for next week, Tuesday and Thursday. I took the afternoon off work. Imelda's coming too. That's kind of you, I said, my voice neutral. But I'm capable of touring facilities myself. Mom, we just want to help. I know what you want, I said quietly. Something flickered across his face. Fear? Guilt? Then it was gone, replaced by his corporate smile. Great. So Tuesday at 2 p.m. I'll drive. Friday, November 29th. Black Friday. Roland and Imelda went shopping at 6 a.m. Something about doorbuster deals at Best Buy. Lily went to a friend's house for a sleepover. At 10 a.m., Patty arrived with the first potential buyers. James and Melissa Chen, early 30s. He was a software engineer at some startup. She was a pediatric nurse. They had a 3-year-old daughter named Emma, who immediately ran to the backyard to look at the peach tree. It's beautiful, Melissa said, walking through the living room. These hardwood floors are original? 1974, I said. My husband Tom and I installed them ourselves. The craftsmanship is incredible. She ran her hand along the banister. You can tell this house was built with love. But when we got to the kitchen, James frowned. This would need updating. New cabinets, new countertops, probably new appliances. And the bathrooms are dated, Melissa added. We'd need to gut at least one of them. By the time they left, I knew they weren't right. They saw a renovation project, not a home. Saturday, November 30th. Second showing at 11 a.m. Marcus Webb, 42, real estate investor. He walked through with a clipboard, taking notes. Square footage? 1,900, Patty said. Lot size? Half acre. Foundation issues? He was already on his phone, pulling up something. I see the crawl space has some settling. Minor, Patty said. Easily addressed. Right. He was doing calculations. I can flip this in 90 days. 40% profit margin, maybe more if I stage it right. I'll offer $380,000, cash as is, close in 2 weeks. This property is listed at $449,000, Patty said. For this condition, you'll be lucky to get $400,000. He handed her a business card. My offer stands for 48 hours. After that, I move on. After he left, Patty looked at me. Dorinda, I know you need to sell fast, but no, I said, not to him. He doesn't see a home. He sees dollar signs. Then we wait for the right buyer. Sunday, December 1st. Theodore called at 9:23 a.m. Good news! The handwriting analysis is complete. Expert confirms the signature on the HELOC documents is forged. I'm filing the fraud claim with the bank tomorrow morning. They'll have to nullify the loan within 5 business days. So by Friday? By Friday, you'll have clear title, ready to sell whenever you want. That afternoon at 3 p.m., Patty brought the third showing. Beverly and Frank Whitmore, both in their early 60s. Beverly had silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. Frank wore orthopedic shoes and walked with a slight limp. Old football injury, he said. They moved through the house slowly, reverently. This porch, Frank said, standing on the front step. Does it get morning sun? Every morning, I said. Ned. Tom and I used to have coffee here. Watch the sunrise. Beverly touched the stair railing, her fingers tracing the wood grain. You can feel the love in these walls. A house like this? It has a soul. In the kitchen, she paused at the window. That's a peach tree, isn't it? Planted it in 1980, I said. The fruit's gone bitter now, but it still blooms every spring. The fruit's always bitter after a certain age, Frank said softly. But the blossoms, those stay beautiful. Something in my chest cracked. We sat at the kitchen table, Tom's table, and Beverly pulled out a folder. Mrs. Hawkridge, we should be honest with you about who we are and why we're looking. Please, I said. Call me Dorinda. Dorinda, Beverly smiled. My husband and I run the Maplewood Community Foundation. We're a nonprofit that provides after-school programs, senior services, community meals. For the past 5 years, we've been operating out of cramped church basements and rented spaces. We've been looking for a permanent home. A home, I repeated. We're not interested in renovating, Frank said. We want to preserve. This house, it could serve the community for another 50 years. After-school care on the first floor, senior programs on the second floor, community dinners in this kitchen. He gestured around. We'd honor what you and your husband built. Beverly leaned forward. We can offer $449,000, cash. We have the funding already approved, combination of grants and donations. We can close in 2 weeks, whenever you're ready. But, Frank added gently, we have one request. What's that? We'd like to name it after your husband, the Tom Hawkridge Community Center, if that's all right with you. I couldn't speak. Tears were running down my face and I couldn't stop them. We don't have to decide now, Beverly said quickly. Take your time. Yes, I managed. Yes, Tom would have loved that. He would have. Yes. Patty was crying too. We all sat there at Tom's table, crying together like old friends. After they left, Patty turned to me. That's it. That's your buyer. I know, I said. But Patty, I need you to do something else for me. Anything. I need you to be there when I tell Roland. Monday, December 2nd. Theodore called at 10:47 a.m. It's official. The HELOC is nullified. The bank is pursuing criminal charges against whoever forged the documents, but that's between them and the authorities. Your title is clear. You can sell whenever you're ready. I'm ready. When do you want to close? Friday, December 13th. That's fast. I know. That afternoon, I did something reckless. Roland was at work. Imelda had taken Lily to a dentist appointment. I went into Roland's office one more time. This time I wasn't looking for guardianship documents or architect plans. I was looking for the truth about the $175,000. In the back of his desk drawer, under a stack of Vanguard Capital folders, I found a manila envelope. Unmarked, sealed with Scotch tape. Inside, bank statements from Midwestern Savings Bank. Account holder, Roland James Hawkridge. August 30th, 2023. Deposit of $175,000. HELOC disbursement. September 5th, 2023. Wire transfer, $175,000 to Apex Ventures, LLC. September 12th, 2023. Wire transfer returned, $175,000. NSF, non-sufficient funds. September 12th, 2023. Note, investment opportunity fell through. Apex Ventures, LLC under investigation for fraud. Then page after page of statements showing desperate attempts to cover the loss. Credit card cash advances, $8,400 personal loan from Citibank, $25,000 credit card balance transfers, $9,600 late payment fees, $743. Interest charges, $3,287. Current total debt as of November 2024, $47,030. The last page was a printout of an email from someone named David Thornton, VP of Finance at Vanguard Capital. Roland, this is your final warning. The missing $43,000 in client funds must be explained by December 31st, or we're involving legal. I've given you every chance because of our friendship, but I can't protect you anymore. Find the money or face the consequences. David, Roland hadn't just stolen from me. He'd stolen from his company's clients, and he was about to lose everything. I photographed every page. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Friday, December 13th, 10 o'clock a.m., Theodore Walsh's office. Beverly and Frank Whitmore were already there when I arrived. They stood when I entered, both smiling warmly. "Dorinda," Beverly said, hugging me. "Are you ready?" "I am." Theodore had everything prepared. Stack after stack of documents, title papers, deed transfer, disclosure forms, sale agreement. At 10:47 a.m., I signed the final page. "Congratulations," Theodore said. 2847 Oakwood Drive now belongs to the Maplewood Community Foundation. Beverly handed me a folder. "We wanted you to see these before anyone else." Inside, architectural renderings. Beautiful watercolor drawings showing my house transformed. Ground floor, children's wing. After-school programs, tutoring, homework help, reading corner. Second floor, senior services. Art classes, technology training, wellness programs. Kitchen, community kitchen. Cooking classes, senior meals, holiday dinners. Backyard, memorial garden, with a bench engraved, "In loving memory of Tom and Dorinda Hawkridge, the foundation of our community." "And this," Frank said, pulling out one more rendering. A sign above the front door, "The Tom Hawkridge Community Center. Estas 2024, I wept." At 11:15 a.m., the wire transfer completed. $449,000 deposited into my account at First National Bank. Account balance, $1,296,992.64. "What now?" Beverly asked gently. "Now," I said, "I go home. One last time." I drove to 2847 Oakwood Drive at 2 o'clock p.m. Roland's car was in the driveway. He'd taken the afternoon off. Something about a family meeting. He didn't know I knew. I walked in with my purse and nothing else. Roland was in the living room, pacing. Imelda sat on the couch, her phone in her hand. Lily was upstairs. I could hear music from her room. "Mom," Roland said, relief flooding his face. "Good. We need to talk." "Yes," I said. "We do." I sat in Tom's chair, the one by the fireplace, the one Roland never sat in because he said it was too old. "We've made a decision," Roland said, standing in front of me like a lawyer addressing a jury. "About Brookstone Heights. We think—" "I'm not moving to Brookstone Heights," I said. Roland blinked. "Mom, we've been over this. I'm not moving anywhere." I opened my purse and pulled out a folder, the same folder Beverly had shown me. "Well, that's not entirely true. I am moving to 2156 Maple Court, Unit B, a small cottage, 800 square feet. Perfect for one person." Imelda frowned. "Dorinda, what are you talking about?" I pulled out the first document. "This is a deed transfer, recorded December 13th, 2024 at 10:47 a.m. from Dorinda Marie Hawkridge to the Maplewood Community Foundation. Sale price, $449,000. Silence. "I sold the house," I said calmly. Roland's face went white. "You what?" "I sold 2847 Oakwood Drive this morning to Beverly and Frank Whitmore, who run a nonprofit community center. They're taking possession January 2nd, 2025. "That's impossible," Imelda said, standing. "You can't sell without—" "Without what?" I looked at her. "Without permission? From whom? This is my house. My name on the deed. I can sell it whenever I want." Roland's voice was shaking. "Mom, you can't do this. We live here. Where are we supposed to go?" "I don't know, Roland. Where were you planning to send me?" He froze. I pulled out the second document. Brookstone Heights brochure, with calculations in Imelda's handwriting. She estimated I'd run out of money in 7.75 years, at age 80. After that— What was the plan, Roland? What happens when I'm 80 and broke? "Mom, that's not—" "Let me show you something else." I pulled out the third document. The email to Thomas Brewster, attorney at law. Guardianship petition, draft, with my name in the blank. Grounds: declining cognitive function, memory impairment, inability to manage financial affairs. Roland sat down heavily on the couch. That's all lies, I said, my voice steady. I have no cognitive decline. My memory is perfect. And as for financial management, I pulled out my bank statement. Current balance, $19,296,392.64. I think I'm managing just fine. Imelda's voice was small. Where did you get these? From Roland's office, where he's been building a case to have me declared incompetent so he can steal my house. It's not stealing, Roland said weakly. We were going to take care of you. Like you took care of my credit? I pulled out the next document. Home equity line of credit, $175,000, filed August 23rd, 2023, with my forged signature. The color drained from Roland's face completely. You stole from me, I said. You forged my name. You took out a loan against my house without my knowledge or consent. That's fraud, Roland. That's identity theft. That's a felony. I was going to pay it back. With what? I pulled out his bank statements. Apex Ventures, the investment scam that collapsed in September 2023, or maybe with the $43,000 you took from your company's client accounts? Imelda turned to stare at Roland. What? David Thornton's email, I said, reading from my phone. The missing $43,000 in client funds must be explained by December 31st, or we're involving legal. That's in 2 weeks, Roland. What's your plan? Roland had his head in his hands. How do you know all this? Because I'm not senile, I said. I'm not incompetent. I'm not confused. I'm a 72-year-old woman who spent 40 years as a secretary, who managed a household, who raised a child, who buried a husband. I know how to read documents. I know how to use a camera phone, and I know how to hire a lawyer. A lawyer? Imelda whispered. Theodore Walsh. He handled your grandfather's estate, Roland. Remember him? He's been helping me for the past 3 weeks. Filing fraud claims, freezing accounts, getting handwriting analysis. I looked at Roland. The bank is pressing charges for the forged HELOC. I didn't ask them to. That's between you and them. Roland was crying now, full, gasping sobs. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was desperate. The business deal fell through and I lost everything, and Imelda kept pushing about renovations, and I thought if you could just steal from me, I finished. If you could just take the house your father and I built with our bare hands and sell it to cover your debts. We were going to give you the proceeds, Imelda said desperately. For your care. I don't need your care. My voice was loud now, louder than I'd meant. I don't need you to manage me or handle me or relocate me. I needed you to see me, to respect me, to remember that I'm not just an obstacle in your renovation plans. I'm your mother. Lily appeared at the top of the stairs. Grandma? I took a breath and lowered my voice. Come down, sweetheart. She came down slowly, her eyes red. Are you leaving? Yes, baby, I'm leaving. Because of Dad? I looked at Roland, who couldn't meet my eyes. Because it's time for me to have my own space, a small place, just for me. Can I visit? Anytime you want. Sundays are good for pancakes. She ran down the rest of the stairs and threw her arms around me. Over her head, I looked at Roland and Imelda. You have until January 2nd to find somewhere else to live. The new owners take possession that day. They've agreed to let you stay through the holidays. That's 3 weeks. Where are we supposed to go? Imelda asked. I don't know, but figure it out quickly. And Roland? I waited until he looked at me. Fix your mess with Vanguard Capital. Sell the boat. Sell the watches. Sell whatever you have to sell, but fix it. Because I won't bail you out. Not this time. Mom, please. I'm done, Roland. I'm done being your safety net. I'm done being invisible. I'm done sacrificing myself so you can feel comfortable. I stood up. Lily clung to me. I'm taking what's mine, I continued. My peace, my dignity, my freedom. You can keep everything else. I walked to the door. Mom! Roland's voice broke. Don't leave like this. Please. I turned around one last time. You left me a long time ago, son. You just didn't move out. Now we're even. I kissed Lily's head, whispered, I love you, and walked out the door. I didn't look back. Saturday, December 14th. I woke up in my new cottage at 2156 Maple Court. 800 square feet. 1 bedroom. Tiny kitchen. Creaky floors. Perfect. I made coffee in a new Keurig machine, $89 at Target, my gift to myself. Sat on the small porch in a rocking chair I'd bought at a yard sale for $20. Watched the sunrise. My phone rang at 8:47 a.m. Roland. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again at 9:15 a.m., again at 10:30 a.m., again at 2:00 p.m. Finally at 6:00 p.m. I answered. Mom, his voice was wrecked. Please, we need to talk. I'm listening. Can I come see you? I thought about it. Not yet. When? When you fixed your problems. All of them. I'm trying. I talked to David. I'm selling everything. The boat's already listed, Imelda's jewelry, my watch collection. I'm filing for bankruptcy next week. Good. And I'm in therapy. First session was yesterday. That surprised me. Therapy? Yeah, Imelda and I both, individual and couples. He laughed bitterly. Turns out planning to steal from your mother is a sign of deeper issues. Roland, I'm sorry, Mom. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry for all of it. The house, the loan, the guardianship papers, making you feel invisible. His voice broke. Dad would be so disappointed in me. I closed my eyes. Yes, he would. Silence. But he'd also want you to fix it, I said softly. He always said mistakes aren't fatal unless you refuse to learn from them. I'm learning. I promise I'm learning. Good. Keep learning. And Roland, take care of Lily. She shouldn't suffer for your mistakes. I will. Can she visit you? She's been crying nonstop. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll make pancakes. Thank you, Mom. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for her. He was quiet for a moment. I know, and that's what I deserve to hear. After we hung up, I sat on my porch for a long time, watching the sky turn dark. Somewhere in Maplewood, in the house Tom and I built, Roland and Imelda were packing their life into boxes, and I felt nothing but peace. June 15th, 2025. I woke at 5:30 a.m. in my cottage on Maple Court, same as every morning for the past 6 months. The sunrise through my kitchen window hit the counter at exactly 6:02 a.m., turning the white laminate golden. I made coffee, French roast from the co-op on Main Street, $12.99 a pound, worth every penny, and sat on my porch in Tom's old rocking chair. The chair was the only piece of furniture I'd taken from 2847 Oakwood Drive. Tom built it in 1989 when his arthritis first started, and he needed projects to keep his hands busy. Imelda had always hated it, said it was shabby. I'd refinished it myself in April. Now it sat on my porch, sturdy and beautiful, holding me every morning while I watched the neighborhood wake up. Patty lived 3 houses down. She walked past at 6:15 a.m. with her golden retriever, Murphy. Morning, Dorinda. Morning, Patty. 2 doors the other way, the Caldwell family, young couple with a newborn, were loading the baby into their Toyota. The mother, Emma, waved. I waved back. I'd lived here 6 months and already knew more neighbors than I'd known in 50 years on Oakwood Drive. At 7:30 a.m., I walked to the library. 4 blocks. The May morning was cool enough that I wore Tom's old flannel over my blouse. The green one still smelled like cedar, even after all these years. The Maplewood Public Library opened at 8:00 a.m. I'd been volunteering there 3 mornings a week since February, shelving books, helping seniors with the computer lab, running the Tuesday morning reading circle. Mrs. Hawkridge, the head librarian, Denise Martinez, greeted me at the door. Perfect timing. We just got the new Sue Grafton donations. I spent 2 hours organizing the mystery section, then taught 3 elderly gentlemen how to use email. Mr. Peterson, 84, sent his first message to his daughter in Seattle. He cried when she responded 3 minutes later. At 11:00 a.m., I walked home, stopped at the co-op for fresh tomatoes, 4 to 50 cents, chatted with the cashier, a young man named Daniel who was studying environmental science at the community college. This was my life now. Small, quiet, mine. Sunday, June 22nd. Lily arrived at 10:00 a.m. exactly, like she did every Sunday. She was taller now. At 12 and a half, she'd grown 3 inches since November. Her dark hair was in a French braid. She'd learned to do it herself from YouTube. "Grandma," she hugged me tight. "Good morning, sweetheart. Hungry?" "Starving." I made pancakes, the same recipe I'd made for 50 years. 2 cups flour, 3 eggs, milk, a pinch of cinnamon. Lily sat at my small kitchen table and told me about school, about her friends, about the summer reading program at the library. She didn't mention her parents unless I asked. "How's your dad?" I asked, flipping a pancake. "Better." She poured syrup carefully. "He got a new job. Not as fancy as the old one. He's a financial consultant now, works from home, makes less money, but I don't know. He's there more." "And your mom?" "She's working again, marketing for a dental office. She complains about it, but I think she likes having something to do." Lily paused. "They sold the boat, and Mom's jewelry, and we moved to a smaller house, near the high school. How do you feel about that?" Lily shrugged. "It's okay. My room's smaller, but it's quieter. They fight less." I set a plate of pancakes in front of her. "Fighting less is good. They're still in therapy, every Thursday." She looked up at me. "Dad asks about you, every week. He wants to know if you're okay." "What do you tell him?" "I tell him you're happy." She smiled. "Because you are, right?" I touched her cheek. "I am, baby. I really am." After breakfast, we walked to the park. Lily talked about her upcoming volleyball tryouts. I told her about the mystery novel I was reading. We sat on a bench and watched ducks in the pond. At 2:00 p.m., Roland pulled up in a Honda CR-V, used, silver, practical. Not the Audi Q7 he'd driven in November. He got out slowly. We hadn't spoken face-to-face since December 13th. 6 months. "Hi, Mom," he said quietly. "Roland." He looked different, thinner, older, tired, but his eyes were clearer. "Thank you for taking care of Lily," he said. "Every Sunday. It means everything to her. She's my granddaughter. I'll always take care of her." He nodded. Looked like he wanted to say more, didn't. "You look good, son," I said, because he did. Tired, but good. Present. "I'm trying." He glanced at his car. "Imelda's waiting. We have a session in an hour." "Thursday therapy?" "Yeah." He smiled slightly. "Lily told you?" "She tells me everything." "Good. That's good." He started to turn, then stopped. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "You can ask." Do you think Dad would forgive me? Eventually?" I thought about Tom, his laugh, his stubbornness, his capacity for grace. "Your father believed in second chances," I said carefully, "but he also believed you had to earn them. So you tell me, Roland, are you earning it?" He was quiet for a long moment. "I'm trying to. Every day. Then keep trying. That's all any of us can do." He nodded and got in his car. As he drove away, Lily waved from the passenger window. I waved back. Saturday, July 12th, 2025. The Tom Hawkridge Community Center opened at 10:00 a.m. The entire town came. Maybe 300 people packed into the front yard of 2847 Oakwood Drive. The house looked the same but different. Fresh paint, the same yellow Tom and I had chosen in 1974. New shutters, landscaping. The peach tree in the backyard had bloomed in April and was now heavy with bitter fruit that nobody would eat but everyone loved to see. Beverly Whitmore stood on the front porch with a microphone. "Welcome everyone to the Tom Hawkridge Community Center." Applause rippled through the crowd. This building was a home for 50 years. Tom and Dorinda Hawkridge built it with their own hands, raised their family here, grew old here. When we approached Dorinda about purchasing it, we promised we'd honor that legacy. We promised this house would continue to be a home, not for one family, but for all of us. More applause. Today we're opening our doors. The first floor has after-school programs, tutoring, and a reading corner for kids. The second floor has senior services, technology classes, art programs, wellness support. The kitchen hosts community dinners every Wednesday night, free for anyone who needs a meal or just wants company. And the backyard, she gestured. The backyard is now the memorial garden, where we remember those we've lost and celebrate the foundations they built. Beverly caught my eye in the crowd and smiled. Dorinda Hawkridge is here today. Dorinda, would you come up and cut the ribbon? I hadn't been expecting this. Patty, standing next to me, squeezed my hand and pushed me forward gently. I climbed the porch steps, the same steps Tom and I built in 1974, stood at the front door, the same door I'd walked through 10,000 times. Beverly handed me oversized scissors. Say something, she whispered. I looked at the crowd, saw Patty, saw Lily, standing with Roland and Imelda near the back. Saw Theodore Walsh, saw neighbors, friends, strangers. Tom and I built this house because we needed shelter, I said, my voice shaking slightly. But it became so much more than that. It became the place where we learned who we were, where we raised our son, where we made mistakes and forgave each other, where we grew old together. I paused. I sold this house because it was time for it to become something bigger than one person's memories. Buildings don't matter if they only hold the past. They matter when they serve the future. I looked at Beverly. Thank you for giving this house a new life. Thank you for honoring Tom's name. Thank you for remembering that the strongest foundations are built with love. I cut the ribbon. The crowd cheered. After the ceremony, I walked to the backyard alone. The memorial garden was beautiful. Stone paths, flowering bushes, and in the center, a wooden bench with a brass plaque. In loving memory of Thomas James Hawkridge, 1947 to 2021, and in honor of Dorinda Marie Hawkridge, the foundation of our community. I sat on the bench, ran my fingers over Tom's name. You would have loved this, I whispered. All these people. All these kids running around. You always said a house isn't a home unless it's full of noise. Footsteps behind me. I turned. Roland stood at the edge of the garden, Lily beside him. Can we sit? He asked quietly. I nodded. They sat on either side of me. Lily took my hand. Roland stared at his father's name on the plaque. I'm sorry, Mom, he said. I've said it before, but I need to say it again. I'm sorry for trying to take this from you, for not seeing what it meant, for not seeing you. I know. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Probably not, I agreed. But you're getting better. That counts for something. He looked at me. Am I? Getting better? You're here. You're working. You're taking care of your family. You're in therapy. You filed bankruptcy instead of stealing more. I squeezed his hand. Yes, Roland, you're getting better. His eyes filled with tears. I miss Dad. Me too. He'd be ashamed of what I did. Yes, I said. But he'd also be proud that you're fixing it. Your father believed in accountability, but he also believed in redemption. We sat there together, 3 generations, watching kids play in the garden where Tom and I used to grow tomatoes. Thank you for not pressing charges, Roland said quietly. For the forgery. The lawyer said you could have. I could have, I agreed. But you're my son, and you're Lily's father. Putting you in jail wouldn't have fixed anything. It would have just hurt more people. Still, thank you. I looked at him. Don't thank me, Roland. Thank Theodore Walsh. He's the one who convinced me that justice doesn't always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like giving someone space to become better. Lily leaned her head on my shoulder. I'm glad you didn't leave Maplewood, Grandma. Where would I go? This is my town. These are my people. I kissed her head. Besides, I have pancake duty every Sunday, she giggled. We sat there until the sun started to set, painting the house. Tom's house, my house, now everyone's house, in shades of gold. July 12th, 2026. The Tom Hawkridge Community Center's first anniversary. I stood in the backyard, our backyard, and watched Beverly give a speech about the year's accomplishments. 47 kids in the after-school program, 18 seniors taking technology classes, 112 community dinners served, 633 people through the doors. After the speech, I walked through the house one more time. The kitchen where I'd made 10,000 meals now hosted cooking classes for single fathers. The living room where Tom and I watched TV now had beanbag chairs and bookshelves for the reading program. Our bedroom, the room where Lily was born, where Tom took his last breath, now held art supplies and easels for senior painting classes. Everything was different. Everything was the same. I found Lily in what used to be her father's childhood bedroom. She was helping a group of 8-year-olds with a craft project. "Grandma," she hugged me. "Look what we're making. Memory boxes, to put special things in." I looked at the little boxes, decorated with paint and glitter and stickers. "That's beautiful, sweetheart." Outside, I found Roland talking with Frank Whitmore about foundation repairs. Imelda was serving lemonade to volunteers. They looked tired but content. They'd stayed in Maplewood, found a small rental house near the community college. They came here every Saturday to volunteer, earning it. Every day. At 5:00 p.m., when the crowd thinned, I sat on the memorial bench one more time. Theodore Walsh joined me. "How are you, Dorinda?" "I'm 73 years old," I said. "Geez," he said. "I live in an 800-square-foot cottage. I volunteer at the library. I make pancakes for my granddaughter every Sunday. I have more money than I'll ever spend and more peace than I ever thought possible." Sounds like a good life. It is. I looked at the house. You know what I learned, Theodore? What's that? That letting go isn't losing. Sometimes it's planting. Tom and I planted this house 50 years ago. We thought it was just for us. Turns out it was for everyone. We just had to get out of the way so it could grow. Theodore smiled. Tom would be proud of you. Tom would say I'm stubborn and dramatic and should have sold the house years ago. That too. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the house that was no longer mine, but somehow more mine than ever. That night I sat on my porch at 2156 Maple Court, alone, at peace. The greatest victory wasn't revenge. It wasn't the money. It wasn't even the justice. The greatest victory was this. At 73 years old, I was finally exactly where I wanted to be. Not in the background of someone else's life, not invisible, not small, just me, Dorinda Marie Hawkridge. Built a house, raised a son, buried a husband, reclaimed her dignity, and learned that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from what you built so others can build on it. I rocked in Tom's chair and watched the stars come out. Tomorrow, Lily was coming for pancakes, and that was enough.